So you're talking to a guy who's not very fond of hiking. I mean, I've tried to walk up, like, what they call practice hills, and I'm just like, please, go on. Go on. Kill me. And, yeah. So, watching a survival movie on a hike, I was basically just watching a much more extreme version of myself. Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between! We are here today to bring you a review about the film Everest. Okay, so Everest is the true story of a group of hikers who go up on Mount Everest whose goal is to make it to the top, and as I would assume that's the goal of every hike, but you make it to the top, and a storm is on its way at the same time. Going into this film, I knew nothing of the true event. I just seen the trailer and said, wow, that looks really good. I'm gonna go watch this. And how did it fare? Well, actually, that was really good. Going into this film, I thought this was gonna be the Jason Clarke show, and it sort of was to a degree. This dude is rocking it in terms of roles. I mean, Zero Dark 30, he kicked it out of the park, and then him in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which I personally felt was a little overrated. Please forgive me, Matt Reeves, who, if you ever watch this. But either way, Jason Clarke did great, but to my surprise, this film had a lot of people in it with star power. I mean, you're looking at Josh Brolin, Jake Gyllenhaal. Jesus Christ, can someone please just give Jake Gyllenhaal an Academy Award already? Because he killed it in this movie, and he killed it in every other movie he wasn't nominated for. This film is really good, as you can tell. I enjoyed it. I will say, though, it is a bit flawed, and that is primarily in the pacing. This film is a compelling story that doesn't know how to pace itself. When they're preparing to go up Mount Everest, that part was amazing. That was my favorite part of the movie. Then what I don't think should have happened is the most boring part of this movie, which is the hike up Mount Everest. Oh my god, I am not much of a hiking person, and dear God, it was like watching paint dry. As you're walking up this mountain, it's like, we're still walking. We're still walking. And you're just like, dude, move on. But you see stuff throughout the film that you wanted almost more fleshed out. They should have, whether it be the music composition, something should have made it more compelling to the audience to watch you hike up a giant rock. And they didn't. So it was like watching someone walk up a rock instead of doing it yourself. And what I do love, though, is the visual scope of this movie is amazing. As the camera is panning around them, they use such great cinematography of showing the clouds and like the steepness of the rocks and just the sheer danger. They show you this beauty, but at the same time, horror. And they go up there, and then it hits. We're in survivor mode, and it reminded me of The Grey. I felt short of breath. I felt like I was shaking from the pulse-pounding intensity, the visceral sense of survival. It was incredible. This part made up for the boring part that was the middle. And I ended up loving it because you have all these characters and like, we gotta get down. And Jason Clarke's like, we gotta get down off this mountain. And you see this storm, and the storm is terrifying. Nature is scary. And you're watching it, and then when the storm hits and you see all these star actors, what I love is you're so on the edge of your seat and you're trying to figure out who's going to survive, unless of course you know about the true event. If you don't know who's going to live, and it's really great, and you're compelled every time like a character struggles and moves their leg, because you don't realize that they're freezing and dying up there as they're moving. So you're watching them just move, and you're like, come on, man, do it. You got this. There were a couple of shots that I could tell it was a green screen, but you know, there's only so much you can do. You can't really film an entire movie hiking up Mount Everest, just saying. So it's understandable, and I could see the layer masking and all of that, but I'm usually pretty lenient on the special effects. And in the end, there were certain parts that I saw the characters, and I was like, I feel like that wasn't enough for that character in terms of screen time or performance. Like, I feel like they underused John Krakauer, for example. John Krakauer is an amazing writer, wrote the book Into the Wild. He was actually in this event. He survived this event. They completely underused his character, made him a bit of how I don't feel he would be in real life, which, judging by what I've seen also in interviews, he is really pissed off at how they portrayed him. But other characters like Josh Brolin, even Jason Clarke, and the movie just sort of ends. Like, you're like, oh, we're in survival, credits. In the end, guys, gals, and everything in between, I really liked this movie. I feel like it suffered from a lot of pacing issues, but the scope of the film is so incredible to look at. You believe that they're hiking Everest. You want them to succeed. The acting is top-notch. Academy Award-winning level of just performances. I really loved it, and I have to say, Everest is big screen worthy. Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between. What did you think of Everest? Did you enjoy it? Are you going to go see it? I definitely recommend it. I think it's in limited screenings, but a little larger end limited screenings. But either way, are you going to go see it? Comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got plenty more videos coming to you.